Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to tackle, how do you find your place? Where do you go to the Philippines that you figure like this is going to be the perfect zone for you, the perfect area? So I'm going to cover a few mistakes that I did on my own, and I'm going to cover some of the things that helped me recover from those mistakes and how this might help you to find your location that's best suited for you, and a couple of the steps along the way how to find that for yourself. So I'm going to give you a quick little brief introduction, and we're going to get right into it.
Bags, let's hit the road. In the Philippines where adventures unfold, with Brian's life compass we'll on our way. Guiding true, traveling just me and you. Join the journey, it's adventure time.
So I've often been asked in some of my videos, how, can I make a recommendation? Where's a good spot to go? How do I find my place? So at first I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, okay? And I thought, okay, this looks great. This looks great. And I got to be really honest, when you're watching, and including my videos, I'm sure of it, when you watching videos on this, it's a different perception when you actually get there in real, okay? And so, and I'm not being negative about any of this, I'm just the reality of it. So you have this side of mindset of thinking, okay, this is going to be perfect. And you're either going to find it's really good and there's some things that are negative about it, or just like not what you expected. And especially if you haven't traveled and experienced other cultures as much, this is going to be a more of a significant shift. So let's get into it. How are you going to find the location that is going to be best for you? Of course, you make your list, okay? What are some of the things you need? What kind of attractions do you need? How close the amenities have to be? How's transportation? Are you going to be driving yourself, or you need transportation? These are key factors. And then, of course, medical things. You have to be close to hospitals. Do you prefer the nature? Do you prefer the city? And of course, you're watching videos now along all of this kind of stuff and seeing what best fits your category. Now, I'm going to share with you right now one of the key strategies that I've done, and a little bit more expensive, but it's worth doing. So when I first got there, my very first location, I was pretty disappointed at the end of the day how it was for me. It was just not my cup of tea. And I had all these expectations. Okay, I'm going to find a place here long term, this and this and this. And that area I didn't like it. Okay. So then what I decided, again, go back to my list. And I figured, you know what? I'm going to spend the time. And then I started doing research. So there's a few like Port-au-Prince came up to me that is one of the cleanest cities in the Philippines. I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, this and that. I like to be near the nature and all that stuff. So there's a few destinations. Cebu came up. Siquijor came up, Bohol came up, Dumaguete, all these things came up sort of that I thought, okay, these are all locations. And later on, actually, I was even interested in Iloilo. I thought that the island, Panay Island, is actually, it looks like a very fantastic island. I spent a little bit of time there as well. But now, what I would then recommend doing is, you're talking about getting a base there for a few weeks or whatever. I mean, at very originally, I just would get a hotel for 3 or 4 days, and I'd hire a private tricycle. Kind of had my list, and I says, okay, in this particular area, I hear this, 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 and this is good. Now, normally it would take a day to explore each one, kind of thing. I just wanted to get a rough idea, so I'd hire the tricycle. We'd go there, and I says, okay, quickly, a couple pictures, let me analyze it, something, and move on. And that is one scenario of doing it, and it's very helpful, actually, okay? Because there's a lot of things that are just misleading, like you take a picture of something. So let's break it down to an apartment or something like that. You get a picture of it, and when you get there, it's right smack dab in the middle of a war zone kind of thing of sawmills and factories and all that. It's just not going to be comfortable, but the picture looks all cute and cozy. So a quick rundown on that is a significant help, okay, doing that. Now, I personally, I'm going to go through for me, what's important is, may not be as important for you, but I ended up choosing Dumaguete, and I like the scenario there. I'm lots to explore. I don't have to travel far in the sense of going on a boat or a plane. The island is huge, a lot of diversity there, a lot of great restaurants. So for me, I ended up going there. I liked my day adventure, so that was really important. So again, I think the best thing for finding that place is just realizing don't make the move necessarily. Go there, scope it out. A lot of times you can rent an apartment for only a month kind of stuff to save you some money. You negotiate, you're saying, especially if you're upfront with the landlords and stuff like that, say, listen, I'm going through the place. If I end up liking it there and everything works out, I'll stay longer kind of stuff. And, maybe give me a deal, whatever. Well, when I say a deal, at least the fact that you don't have to sign a contract, okay? So things like that, that's the best way to do that. You get the humble feeling of the area without being a tourist, if that makes any sense. Settle in for a little while and drive around the areas. Because a lot of things, when you watch these videos and stuff, or they're overhyped or underhyped, depending what is in your ballpark or what is important for you, right? I find the few key factors is going to be mobility. How are you personally driving around? Are you going to be driving? Because that opens the door a lot. If you are not comfortable with that, I made a separate video on that as well about the driving. But if you're not comfortable with that, that limits a lot of places that you're going to be happy with if you're having to travel far, or you're also limited where these tricycles and stuff go, or they're extremely uncomfortable when they're trying to go down the back roads and stuff. I mean, it might sound silly, but these are all little things that add up, okay? So I think the real factor is taking your time, having some patience, and exploring it. And don't be necessarily caught up in the very first one that you see. Move around, it doesn't take much to, even when you're settled for that matter, like, you have stuff. I've moved from, islands apart, okay? Hired a moving company and stuff like that. It's not that expensive. It's not that difficult. It did stress me out the very first time because I just had no idea what the outcome was going to be. It ended up being fantastic. So, you're not bound at where you're at. So take the time. You're entering a whole new lifestyle, and you want to make the right fit. So take your time and explore around. But that is really how you find these places, by taking your time, getting the first little bit for a few weeks, if even a few days, just even a few days. If you feel most people can tell. You get there, it's got that energy, that vibe. I like this, and then you just, okay, rent it for a little bit longer. Maybe then say, okay, well, I'm going to rent it for a month or two kind of thing, and really get the area scoped out. Then at least you know your area. Then the next step is finding the proper place in that area, but that's a whole different ball game. At least know the area, because nothing's worse than finding your great home that you're comfortable with, and then realizing, well, heck, I'm comfortable at home, but there's just not enough for me to do nearby. That's another factor that's quite easy to happen in the Philippines as well, which I never thought it was going to be like that, but it is. You want to have that good structure of balance, and that's the way to do it.